Okay.
So, from a comic book head's point of view, like how accurate should a comic book movie be to the source material? Like a percentage wise, like
Percentage wise, I think it should be somewhere around 75%. I'm mature enough to understand that comics is it's very much so a cult thing. It's very nichey and hippie, and that isn't for everybody. So essentially, if they made a movie that was 100% on par with the source material, we would be kind of like segregated amongst just nerds, and nobody else would be able to enjoy it. So I definitely feel like about 75%.
how accurate was this?
85 to 90.
Even with the whole flip on Killmonger?
Yeah, 85 to 90. I mean, there was very few points where I was just like, this is completely off. And I mean, like, the one part of the movie that was completely off was actually with the credits. And I mean, do you really count that in with the actual movie?
Nah.
No. So, yeah, exactly.
Oh, what you talking about?
White Wolf.
White Wolf.
Oh, no, come on. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, so the 15% of stuff that wasn't accurate, that's was it forgivable?
Absolutely.
Okay. So what was it? What was it that we saw that wasn't the way it's supposed to have went down?
I didn't like the way T'Challa portrayed himself within that movie. I think he portrayed himself a lot better in Civil War, more militant. He's very, very militant within the source material. And when it comes to diplomacy, he's horrible at it. But he was very diplomatic in this movie here, and he doesn't really learn to be diplomatic until further along within the source material. So chronologically, if you want to follow Black Panther's development, this movie, it's like early on within the Panther movies. He's still a kid. He was like making very, very, very 30-year long king decisions within. I mean, he wasn't king for very long at all. You know what I'm saying? And in the comics, he's very immature when it comes to being a king and diplomacy. He's still developing, but
So you're saying like the scene when they was the interrogation scene is like more like where he should have been through the whole movie.
yes,
The way he was just like, yeah, let's let him think he's in charge. And then you got 5 minutes, then we taking him back to Wakanda. So like more like that's the child that should have been through the whole movie.
yes,
Like,
yes. But I feel like Killmonger, they wanted to inflate Killmonger so much that it was kind of like, nah, we're going to dumb him down. But T'Challa is as militant as Killmonger is. Yeah.
So in the comics, is Killmonger like to have the same motivation of taking over the world and putting black folks in charge?
Yes.
So what was the difference between the Killmonger? Because it was a difference. The difference between the Killmonger in the comic books to the Killmonger in that movie.
There really wasn't a big difference. The motivation was pretty much the same.
Outside of, I think the original Killmonger was like from New York or something. Like his people was like he grew up in New York.
Yeah.
This one did the Oakland.
Yeah.
It was in Oakland.
Yeah.
He had his mother and father in the comic books.
Mm-hmm.
This one, like Mom Dukes, won't even barely mention.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't even. They didn't mention her at all.
Is
They
she
didn't
important in the
mention her.
comics?
No.
Okay,
No.
there you go.
Yeah,
But see, now that's what I wanted to know. Was he an orphan coming up, or was he just single parent?
He was an orphan coming
He was
up.
an orphan.
Yeah, he was definitely an orphan. But I mean that the significance of that is minuscule in the grand scheme of things. I mean, like when I think about the comic and I think about the live action, like things like motivation, the way he went about acting on those motivations, those were on par. You know what I'm saying? The way he went about doing them. And I mean, I just can't wait. I can't wait to see what they're going to do in Black Panther 2 and 3 because, I mean, if they follow the comics, it's going to be insane. Like, I've been talking about it in my gym, and then, like, people literally had their mouth open, like, yo, They need to do it. They need to do it.
I ain't holding my breath for that shit. I don't think they know what to do.
You don't think so? You don't think it's gonna go online the whole?
Because it's like
T'Challa about to be
they got
the
the whole
fucking man.
Yeah, because they got the whole universe, the whole cinematic universe to think about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then they just opened up Wakanda to everything, so it's like, all right, where are we going with this? You know, like you already see these hella white folk in Wakanda by the time Infinity War come out. So it's like it's gonna be.
You think the infiltration is gonna happen? Because you still got the dude that controls the Jabari in Baku, like you, because he still has to be somewhat of a.
Well, you know, I mean, he's gonna be in Infinity War. I know that much.
Yeah, but he got to be an antagonist somewhere in this.
Uh-oh.
He has to, right?
Yeah.
Right?
So like, yeah, because that's.
So do we talk about that on this podcast? Do you want me to kind of like?
Yeah, we spoiling.
Okay.
Yeah. We
Okay.
spoiling.
So, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
So in the comic books, M'Baku actually, like, Wakanda goes into a civil war, right? And M'Baku actually tries to take advantage of that civil war because the time T'Challa actually gets very diplomatic, he frequents over into the United States. He meets a woman. Her name is Monica Lynn, I believe, and he falls in love with her. Nakia finds out about it, kills her. They exile Nakia, the Nakia that everybody loves in the movie. They wind up exiling her. The whole country goes into civil war. M'Baku takes advantage of that, and he actually comes in and tries to beat T'Challa for the throne. He becomes the main antagonist moving forward. It gets crazy. Shuri actually becomes Black Panther at one point
Right.
too.
I see they did tease that.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it gets
Like, yeah.
crazy, man. Like the whole Black Panther ethos gets
So
nuts.
what is love interest again? What was her name?
Who, Nakia?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wasn't she younger or something in the comic books?
Yeah.
Like she was like an adolescent. Like she was young.
Yeah, young. And then when they start to get together, I mean, she's of age. It ain't like he don't know crazy shit. You know what I mean?
But if I'm not mistaken, like I remember seeing this on YouTube. Like somebody explained, like she was kind of off.
Yeah, she winds up killing
Yeah,
his.
she was
like, yeah.
Okay.
All right, so how y'all think about the casting of the movie? Anybody miscast or y'all cool with the whole?
Anybody miscast?
No, I think everybody was, except for Black Panther. I just feel like
You don't like Chadwick as Black Panther?
no. Now, if I could pick, and he's too old, the guy who did the voice actor for Desmond Honju, Blood Diamond dude,
Yeah.
he's perfect. He is the perfect Black Panther. If it was 10 years earlier, nobody would have been better than him. He looks like it. He's African. He is the Black Panther.
Yeah.
And I was upset when they didn't even at least give him T'Chaka. I felt like he would have been perfect
Yeah,
because he's
perfect.
older now. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
well, at least make him T'Chaka. They ain't even pulling for that. Like, what do you drop the ball
Oh
on
no,
that?
well, thing with him was he was already in the MCU. They don't use the same actors twice.
Who was he?
He was in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, yeah, he
Some
was.
bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, right fast. Same thing with Idris Elba. They didn't have him doing
But
shit.
they kind of cheated with that because they used Michael B. For, and I know that was Sony or
yeah,
whoever
but that's what
Fox
but that's what
did.
I mean. Marvel Studios
Yeah.
don't use the same actors twice.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
And
it
too,
was good. For me.
favorite scenes and all that shit. Let's just chit chat it up, niggas. Let's go. You first, Flo. Favorite scene.
All Killmongers. All his scenes were the best scenes.
You know what? One of my problems with the writing of the movie was Killmonger. Some of his shit. It's like I got this problem when I'm watching movies where I feel like the writers or directors, whoever making the final decision on what the people are saying, don't really trust the audience. So it's like Killmonger would make his point, and then they have him say a whole other sentence behind it. Like when at the end when he said, "Just bury me in the ocean with the ancestors that jumped from the ships," that was enough. They ain't have to keep going because bondage is better. Nigga, we get it. You know what I'm saying? It's like he had a whole bunch of shit like that. Like, like imagine how cold it would have been if he would look at the white lady and been like, "How you think y'all got this shit?" And he just would have stopped right there. But he had to keep going like, "Oh, do they pay a fair price?" It's just like the added on taglines kind of ruined a lot of his dialogue. For me.
I don't think so, actually, because there's a lot of white people who watch that, and they need to hear that shit too. Like,
Oh, so
we
they need to
get it.
Oh yeah,
we
okay,
get
all
it.
right.
Because I'm like, yeah, say that shit. But them white people need to figure, like, listen.
Why did he say that?
Why did he say that? Like, this is what you, yeah, like,
I feel you.
all his lines.
That does make sense. I'm
Yeah,
about us.
yeah, I mean, all his lines, perfect.
The only one I had a little problem with, and it seemed like it was overdone, was the scene was like, I killed people in Iraq, Afghanistan. I wasn't, the line itself was good, but when I went the second time and listened to it, it just,
a little bit much.
yeah.
All he really needed from him to take his shirt off.
He didn't have no tone in his voice.
Mm-hmm.
It would just sound like he was just speaking words.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, though, the words itself were great. It's just
his performance.
The way it came off. But
to
it
me,
was
I
still,
felt like
the first time I saw it, though, I was like, oh shit, because the no homo, the nigga started taking his shirt off, and I was like, oh nigga, that's more than the arm piece.
Yeah.
That shit is way more than the arm piece.
Yeah.
Is that in the comic books? The markings?
Yeah.
Oh, where?
Okay, so he did go to MIT and all of that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He's one, I mean,
I know
black.
Afghanistan probably won the thing in the comic.
No, but he's definitely, I mean,
Right.
he's a very, very smart, very, like, a master strategist. I mean, like, they can't, the way he went about doing it, you can tell there was obviously a plan, but they don't do him justice about how much of a mastermind he is. There's only been one other person. No, he's the only person who's literally beat T'Challa in hand-to-hand combat and taken the throne. All of the other people pretty much had it passed down to them for one reason or another, but he's the real deal. Like, all that shit, like, he's incredibly smart. Hand-to-hand, very few people in all of Marvel. I mean, you can say that about Panther. You know what I mean? Like, hand-to-hand, there's maybe 4 or 5 people who can, like, just... And he beat him more than once. You know what I mean? So the first time it was a coincidence. You know, hand-to-hand combat, you might can get a good lucky shot. Like, no, he kind of owns him.
Now, how did you like the fight scenes? Fight scenes, any?
I like all of them except for the final one with where they was by the trains and shit.
Yeah.
Because with me, I'm like it's hard for me to get into a fight that doesn't have that much risk. Like if they would have been out of the Panther suits.
That's why I feel like most of his fights were like, let me strip you of your power, plain Jane fight this through. Mm-hmm. And that right there made it seem like T'Challa was kind of like not really that motherfucker.
Yeah.
Kind of made him seem like, because technically he got his ass beat twice.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
He beat old boy though.
Technically he got his ass beat twice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
But I mean, M'Baku ain't no joke.
Right.
That's
By
like-
any,
like-
I
like-
mean, like
One thing I like about the Marvel Studios movies is how the exposition of shit, the way they do it. It's kind of like they a lot of stuff they show you and don't tell you. Kind of like how with M'Baku you saw him fight T'Challa and he was winning, but they don't really show you until the end why he was winning because you know he ain't got no special powers. He straight lift that dude up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was like that's who the fuck T'Challa just beat with no goddamn superpowers and shit. So it's like, you know. But
I felt like the fight scenes were okay, but I just feel like the plot and everything else superseded it, and it's weird because I'm big into fight scenes and, you know, just watching anime and stuff like that. I literally can just watch anime that has great scenes. One Punch Man, you know, Baki the Grappler, like all that stuff. Like the story can be absolutely horrible, but for some reason, or another, I mean, it didn't bother me. And I've seen superhero movies and just action flicks with much better action. But I mean, maybe I'm just a fanboy.
is there anything wrong with that?
Sometimes, especially if I'm trying to argue with other people about fanboyism. It's just like, bro, you annoying.
Another thing that I didn't like, because the only thing I don't like about shit is the shit that just didn't happen, and just like so, like I didn't like how like some of the writing with Killmonger, but you like that makes sense. But there wasn't like a celebration scene. You know, like every villain in every movie when they win some shit, you know what I'm saying? They had their goddamn party and all that, and it's like Killmonger didn't have his Joker hanging out the
Dude,
window.
that shit was in the
You know what I'm
day.
saying? He didn't have his. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, like you don't be watching movies like that, but you know, like every time they do like some shit where the villain gets that victory. Remember in Die Hard with the Avengers, they stole all the gold, and they partying and shit, and then John McClane got to come back. Like it would been. I would like to have Killmonger have one of those celebration moments, but really all we got was when he's walking to the throne and the camera's upside down. You know what I'm saying?
But did you not see him embrace that? Like he was still looking around.
Yo, that's not. I noticed that the second time I watched the movie, I realized like how much he's just taking Africa in, and he's like just looking around like,
Oh
shit. Oh, okay. Like you see when like I didn't notice like when he's in the room with all of them, with all the elders and shit, and T'Challa stands up and walks towards him, and then the door come down, and he looks at the door, then he looks at T'Challa like,
yeah, that's because they're going. The guards came.
Yeah.
Down, and he was like, oh
okay.
shit.
And he looks at them first, and he looks at T'Challa, he's like, okay.
Yeah, it was great. Like my mother-in-law said, she said that was more than just a movie because I was stuck looking at all them black people. It was just beautiful. That first time I saw it, it was just beautiful the whole way through. How strong they played the women. How do y'all feel about that? The position that they put the women in.
I mean, well, I already knew what was up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's dope to see it on screen. What the more to me than anything was as far as the women go, my favorite thing is how old girl was talking shit about the wig, seeing like those, like how everybody was natural, won't no relaxers in the whole fucking movie.
I actually enjoyed that.
Yeah,
That the black women embrace being natural, and not shying away from being aggressive. Essentially,
Right.
you know what I mean? It was very natural for them to be like, look, we're gonna take charge, we're gonna kick ass, and that's just gonna be that. Like, and it was to the point where there was like a normalcy of that atmosphere going throughout, even with Cherie. You know what I mean? It's like.
There was no damsel in distress in the whole
Yeah,
movie.
and I was perfectly fine with that. You know what I'm saying? If anything, the damsel was some of the dudes in there. You know what I mean? Especially with, what's the dude name? Okoye's boyfriend.
Wakanda.
He was kind of at the end like, yo, you gonna do this to me? Like, and she was like, kind of like, yeah, and then you're like.
No, it was the second time. How many times did you watch the movie?
Twice.
Yeah. The second time I watched it, when I noticed that I didn't pay it no mind, but they was already losing. By the time they had that conversation, and he bowed down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was like, because when he looked around, he saw all his boys on the ground, and they was getting their ass whooped. Yeah, because I got to see it one more time just for, like, certain scenes. Like, I got to see when Okoye finally, like, snaps and decides to defend. What did they say? Like, save your country or serve your country?
Yeah.
She decides to save instead of serve, and she, like, talked that shit. She, like, looked at him like,
once
yo,
she realized
hatred.
the ritual was still going on,
Yeah.
she was like, okay, I'm not wrong now.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
She's not defying the throne. Once she saw him, she ain't defying it no more because it's not over. So her loyalty still was to him. So she got the flip just that quick.
It wasn't like that. It was just that he said some irrational shit. And it was when she realized that this nigga's really crazy. She said something, like she gave him a whole speech. Like, she's like, you gonna let your hatred and vengeance just run, like, you crazy. Then she, that's like, I gotta see that scene again. Like that.
Yeah.
That happened right
She
when T'Challa
banged
knocked the
that
plane
shit.
down and he
Yeah.
came up and was like, I didn't surrender or you ain't killed me.
Bro.
It's still going on. Yeah. But his Killmonger's hate drifted over to her man.
He was already there, but he already had that way of thinking. Remember when they was talking about the gate, and he was talking about how, like, yo, Nakia wants us to go outside. He was like, look, dude, you want me to do that shit, I'm ready. Like, he been ready to go
he
out
just
into the
wanted his
world.
vengeance.
Yeah.
And so whoever gave him his vengeance, that's where his loyalty went.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I got, especially when it came to Claw. You know what I mean? He was like, bro, you said you was gonna kill him. Like, why are you messing around? Like, you don't let people get away.
Right.
You know what I mean? You the Panther. You know what I mean? He was like, nah.
You got to think, Claw been running around for
Ever.
30 years.
Yeah, since he was a kid. He was like, enough is enough. And then Killmonger does it,
Yeah.
you know, without hesitation. It don't take long. He literally delivers. Like, how did that even become a thing? Like, how did he know that he was looking for him? I didn't even think about that.
He probably talking to Claw.
Wakabi?
Killmonger.
Probably.
Yeah, probably talking to Claw.
Yeah, and it was known that they was naming the people that died in the bombing.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing that on the news.
Okay.
So
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I did see one thing that was like the one plot hole they could find in Black Panther was why was he so close to Claw? Like, if all he had to do was kill him and bring him to Wakanda, like, so why do all these heists and shit with him? Why not just find him, talk to him, and kill him and get it over with? I was like, I don't. Yeah.
You can answer that because he's still believing in a fairy tale. Now, how close are you to this? To not believing in this fairy tale when you see your first piece of vibranium.
Oh, vibranium.
Vibranium.
Right. When you see
Okay.
that first piece, because Claw knocked the dust off, you might know it came from there, but now you getting pieces of it there.
Yeah.
And now who else you gonna get close to than the other guy that been there?
Okay. All right.
He's been there, so
I mean, I get it. It was just like, why do the heist together and not just kill them when you find them instead of find them, plan a heist, pull the heist off, then kill them. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, why not just kill them? Yeah.
well, maybe Claw told him where it was at.
Yeah, I mean that too. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So am I the only one that almost teared up with little baby Killmonger talking to his pops?
It wasn't that sentimental to me.
No, the no tears part.
That's what got me.
That.
What no tears?
So no
part?
tears. Like he was when he went back to the.
Oh
central
yeah,
plane,
yeah,
it was
yeah.
like,
Okay.
no tears.
Yeah, because
T'Challa broke down.
yeah, exactly, and it was cool for him to break down because, but it's like with Killmonger, he grew up in America where he ain't have it. You know what I'm saying? It's like he is his dad's worst nightmare. What his dad didn't want to happen to him. So it's like the look on his face was like, damn, they got you. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
So what did you learn?
yeah,
like,
you know what I'm saying?
like shit. What did you learn? They got you now. What did you learn?
Niggas say everybody dies. Damn, they got him.
That's your tough.
That's another thing I didn't notice until the second time I watched was how the difference between T'Challa seeing his pops in the afterlife and yeah,
The sky was the same though. I did notice that.
that
second
was tight.
time.
That
the
was
sky
tight.
was the same, so he was still there, but he was just over where they left him.
Hey yo, and shout out to Ryan Coogler for having the cleanest, most fluent action scenes. Like he was doing that steady one shot shit. Like if y'all saw Creed. In Creed,
Yeah, I seen Creed.
you seen it in Creed in the boxing matches. You said you saw it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the boxing matches, the camera didn't cut away. Like it wasn't like edits. He like kept one shot, followed the boxers around to their corners and everything, and he flashed to the swing to the crowd, show people in the crowd and swing back. It was all one shot. And he had action scenes in there where he was doing that during the act. Like in the casino fight, like it's the camera's just moving around,
went from
just
upstairs to
following
down,
downstairs, go
yeah.
back upstairs, and it's so fluid the way it works until they run outside. And it was like, it was done perfectly.
I'm not in the technical aspects.
Like I said,
of it.
I'm in the movies where you in the comic books and shit.
It's all good.
So anything else y'all didn't like about the movie?
Excuse me.
Other than Panther not being Panther, like I thought it was a perfect movie. It's weird because you know how I'm against live action comic book movies, man. I was really, really impressed by that. Like super impressed. Thought it was perfect.
It's solid, man. I ain't got no hate against it. Not no.
All right, so what's something that's in the movie what's something that wasn't in the movie that you think should have been in the movie? Or like you watching, it's just like something something like you may have been expecting to be like you see something happen, it's like okay, cool, well here's where this character should be coming in, and they don't show up. You're like, oh, what the fuck? Or a thing, custom, anything
See,
like that.
me not knowing no better, I thought they would try to introduce the storm or something. But yeah, right. But that's me not knowing no better because I'm like, okay, well maybe they gonna kind of play off.
The ink just dried on the deal. Like the ink just dried.
Yeah. Maybe just another black character, like a cameo from another black, like anybody. Or just another character in general, like maybe like a bishop or somebody like that. Just a cameo. That would have been dope too. You know what I'm saying? To kind of like give people that setup feel for Infinity War. You know what I mean? Because
That's one of the things I was thinking too. Was the CIA agent could have been somebody else from the Avengers.
no, he needed to be there. Like Ross, have you ever read Chris? You never read any of Panther books. Like Ross is, I'm not going to say it's as important as Black Panther, but
Okay, all right.
he is very instrumental to that whole Christopher Priest run. When I saw him, I actually got really excited. I was like, yo, they put Ross in this shit. You know what I'm
Okay,
saying? He's in pretty much every Black Panther book that Christopher Priest wrote. So no, I definitely felt like he was appropriate. I felt like they should have gave him more of it because I mean, he's a centerpiece almost in those Black Panther books. You know, just going on a ride. You know what I mean? Because just it's almost like he's a tag along, like a sidekick almost, like intergalactic travel. He's like, man, this dude got me out here. It's almost like comedy to have him in there. You know what I mean? So I felt like they should have built him in there more. But maybe just any other superhero. Just
I guess it did kind of feel like its own little island. Like it didn't really feel like it was part of the Avengers and all that shit. As far as the movies go,
that's the beauty of it, though. Yeah. It was more based on Wakanda. They made Wakanda a character.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. That was the beauty of it.
I kind of feel like Wakanda was the main character.
Yeah, and I mean I'm okay with that, and I can see it on both sides. But maybe just one other character, or I mean, even just like kind of like talking on the phone, like getting some advice or something like that, like just to kind of bring like we're still a part of Marvel Cinematic Universe, you know what I mean? And I see how it could be problematic because people do still want that. This is our movie. We don't want nobody else, but it's a part of a bigger picture. You know what I mean? Like maybe he needed to get some diplomacy advice from Hank McCoy. Henry McCoy, excuse me. Beast, because, he's a diplomat, like, out of nowhere. Maybe just getting, like, some advice from him. Well, let me call Beast and see what he thinks. And, you can hear them talking on the phone or something like that. Just to kind of tie it together a little bit.
Yeah.
Question. Where was any other mutants?
That's the $1 million. You know what I'm saying?
None.
Yeah. That's why I said that's why like it just felt like it wasn't part of the universe.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, is everybody gonna fit in when Infinity War come out?
Yeah. See, like me not knowing, I thought M'Baku was some kind of mutant, but no, this is.
Oh no, he's just Diesel.
Yeah, this motherfucker's just what's in there. Do you appreciate the fact that they didn't put him in the gorilla whole ensemble?
No. You think they should have done it?
You think
just went ahead and went on?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I like him. M'Baku's a beast. Like he's just like a genuine beast.
No, but I'm saying like
man ape. Yeah. Call it to him. I mean, but like
even after the monkey in the jungle hoodie and all that shit.
They called him.
No, they never
called
him
him Gorilla King, a king of gorillas.
They acknowledged that they prayed to the gorilla god or something. They made acknowledge to.
She was like when they went up to the throne to his land, and when he shushed the girl. The young one, she was like, "Don't you rub our face in it." And then the mother spoke again, and she was like, "Gorilla King or Gorilla."
Okay, I missed that.
I gotta see it again.
Yeah,
she did call him, but it wasn't man-ape.
Yeah,
it wasn't man-ape, and I was waiting for because I'm like, I don't think they're gonna do it. Is he gonna show up at his last battle with that whole suit on? I'm like, oh man,
because he didn't even have his suit.
No, he just had. And it was just
it didn't even look like an ape or like a head or anything like that.
No, it wasn't no head. It just looked like a silverback.
Yeah.
He had the gorilla mask when he fought at the waterfall. Yeah, the waterfall because T'Challa put on a Panther mask. He put on the gorilla mask.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean that's pretty consistent. Yeah.
It's like something else I didn't notice the second time I watched it. Because like I said, the movie is like I always tell everybody the movie's better the second time you watch it because you notice shit you didn't notice the first time because you're able to take everything in. But I didn't realize all of the best warriors of each tribe were best friends. I didn't even catch that shit. Remember when they was at the waterfall, they were saying there will be no challenge today. Mm-hmm. Like everybody those his boys because Wakabi was one of them. Yeah. Like he was another one. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It was like, and then and T'Challa was of his tribe. You know what I'm saying? Because he was the warrior before.
So what about the guy that had the whole rap? Like I couldn't even see his face.
Oh yeah, so like it was two of them that
you see his face, and then the other one that had the red.
Yeah, so it was like two of them that weren't like main characters, but and then Okoye. Mm-hmm. All right, and then Okoye, then her and Wakabi was goddamn dating, and she's the greatest warrior too. Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't catch that until
they did acknowledge that she's the greatest warrior in Wakanda. Like you are the greatest warrior of Wakanda. I'm like, oh snap.